back at the 2017 Avenal Sand Drag Spring Nationals. Getting ready for round number 2 of the Saturday Pro Gambler. So stick with us. We're going to try to do we're go through this round of live streaming here. Round 2, should be 23 cars left in this deal. So you get to see some action. Hopefully our cell connection sticks with us. Unfortunately, earlier it dropped us right before top eliminator, but no biggie. It's all good. So here we go. Pro Gambler, round 2. It's going to be Steve Foster. He'll be here in the near lane in the Impatient 2 Jeep against Kyle Gilmore over on the far side. Steve Foster won the Pro 1 class yesterday, the completion of the October event. Steve's dialed in at 362 here in the near lane, and Kyle Gilmore is in at 4.60. So we're at the Avenal Sand Drags in Avenal, California for their 2017 Spring Nationals. Round 2 of the Saturday Pro Gambler. 45 cars started in this class, down to 23 this round. And the win to Kyle Gilmore over on the far side, 461. Move on to the next round. Steve Foster was 361 with an 8, breaking out on the 362 dial. Next up is going to be Grant Frazier in the Pro Charged Hummer over here on the near side, up against Stacy Bolton in the Odd Duck Jeep. Grant made some wild passes this morning. He had one where he carried the front end and set it down right at the finish line and went 342. So Stacy Bolton in the far lane, Grant Frazier in the near lane. Grant's dialed 345. Stacy's in at 456. And the win light to Stacy Bolton over on the far side, 458 on the 56 dial. Grant Frazier with the breakout by 0.02 of a second. He goes 344 with an 8 on the 45 dial. He burped it a couple times down there, killed it to 97 miles an hour, but couldn't rip it enough. Stacy Bolton will move on to round 3 in the Saturday Pro Gambler. Up next is going to be Debbie Mark out of Washougal, Washington in the Dragon Lady Buggy. Debbie and her husband Craig made the trip down here, do some racing this weekend, up against Austin Thomas. Driving his grandparents' Jeep there, his grandpa Al lining him up. Debbie's dialed in at 474 and Austin is in at 422. And the win to Austin Thomas. He goes 428 on the 422 dial, and he'll move on to round number 3 of the Pro Gambler. Austin, first time back up behind the wheel here in a little bit. And he hasn't missed a beat at all. He's been right on the money all day long. So he'll go on to round 3. Do a quick cleanup of the track. Yeah, tractors side by side. Yeah, he's backing up. Pretty cool setup the way they do it here. They have implements that are wide enough to basically groom the whole width of the lane. So all they'll have to do is they'll go down the track, they'll park at the end. We'll run more cars. And the next time it's time to groom it, they come back up the track and park. So it'll only be like, I don't know, 4 minutes maybe, 3 minutes. That's it. So let's see what's going on here in the comments. Yeah, there's a ton of shutdown, Tony. This track, you could go on forever down there if you had any kind of issue. When is Jim Millar up? I'm not sure. I think Jim Millar is still in, but I couldn't tell you 100%. I don't see him in the lanes, but I thought he won first round. We'll see if he comes up here in a little bit. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching the National Sand Drag News live stream. We're here at the Avenal Sand Drag Spring Nationals here in Avenal, California. We are in Central California, about halfway between Fresno and Bakersfield. Beautiful day here. Temperatures in the low 80s with just a real light breeze. And not too shabby. Tomorrow it's supposed to be a little warmer with temperatures in the high 80s. But we're also supposed to have the breeze still, so it'll make it feel fairly comfortable. Tractors are off the track, so it's time to pull the next pair. Here in round 2 of the Pro Gambler. Once again, we started off with 45 cars in this class. We're in round 2 right now. Well, this ought to be a good matchup. It's going to be Kenny Hayes, yesterday's Pro Gambler winner. He'll be here in the near lane out of Buckeye, Arizona, the blue and white Jeep. Dialed in at 345. Up against Dennis Wright out of Carlsbad, California, in the hammer down bracket Jeep. Dennis is dialed in at 415. And Kenny's Jeep has been right on the money all weekend. 45, 46, 47. But Dennis Wright has been pretty consistent as well. This should be a good matchup. Kenny Hayes burps it and gets the job done. 350 on the 45 dial. Getting out of her early. Dennis Wright was 420 on the 415 dial, so both were 5 over. And Kenny had the starting line edge, and we'll move on to the next round. Next up, Sam Montgomery for Team Hardcore over here on the near side in the 9M Jeep. It's Mike Williams Sr. in the White Lightning ride out of San Jacinto, California. Sam Montgomery's out 429, 383 for Mike Williams Sr. And your win lane goes to Sam Montgomery here on the near side, 436 on the 29 dial. And he'll move on to the next round. Sam has been on fire this weekend. Runner-up finish in a semifinal yesterday, and he's going rounds. Actually, I think he's still in Sportsman today as well. Next up, John Huff. Talk about a guy who's been going rounds lately. He won the Friday Gambler at Saboba earlier this month. The semi-final yesterday in the Friday Gambler. And here he is going rounds again today, and he'll be up against Bob Cambridge out of Apple Valley in the dragster. Dialed in at 332. Wow, an uncharacteristic issue there for Bob Cambridge. It looked like when he brought it up on the brake, the car took off. So, red light for Bob. 436 is the number for John Huff, and he'll go to the next round. And not sure what happened to Bob there. His car has been deadly consistent today. He's been running 32s, 33s with gosh, he's been killing the tree too. 020 light, 020 and 017. So definitely a tough break for Bob. I'm sure they'll get it fixed. Whatever, a little bit of a trans brake issue there. Get ready for tomorrow. So we're finishing up round number 2 of the Saturday Pro Gambler. We're at the Avenal Sand Drag Spring Nationals in Avenal, California. We're going to clean the track and finish up this round. I wanted to give you guys a taste of the action through some National Sand Drag News live streaming. We want to thank the folks from Avenal Sand Drags for their sponsorship of the coverage this weekend. Thanks to all the folks here at Avenal that for their great hospitality and support. DeArtney Farms, Ron DeArtney, the Red Warrior Dragster, Jerry Watson with the Lethal Injection team, Ron Moran, Mark Whitmore Speed and Custom Team. All these folks put in a ton of effort here at Avenal Sand Drags to put on a great show. A lot of great sponsors on board to make this happen here at Avenal Sand Drags, including the fine folks at Ross & Sons. Refrigeration and Construction. We've seen Adam Ross driving his dad's 59 Chevy this weekend, laying down some really good laps. He just ran a 380 in sportsman competition. That was pretty cool. So we've had some videos of him and Stephen Chase and the Blazer, Turbo Blazers, made some really nice passes as well. Been a lot of really, really cool action here this weekend. So here we're doing a little work on the starting line, and while that's going on, the tractors are heading this way. So pretty well thought out process of how they groom the track to where they do the starting line, get the starting line smoothed out while the tractors are coming from the other end, and keep the show flowing here. A lot of cars here this weekend. Like I said, the pro bracket class had 45 cars today. They had, gosh, there was 21 in Sportsman 1, somewhere around that. Around 25 in Sportsman 2 today. So a lot in the bracket classes. I'm sure tomorrow will be pretty much the same once we get to the Pro 1, 2, 3 program. Check that out. We get the starting line finished just in time for the tractors. Great job by the whole crew. The guys that are out here in the tractors all day, they do a fantastic job keeping the track in great shape. Excellent looking track when they get done with it. Alright. We're going to go back to action here. Tractors are clear. Next cars are fired up. Once again, we are at Avenal Sand Drags in Avenal, California for their 2017 Spring Nationals event. We're in round 2 of the Saturday Pro Gambler class. This ought to be a really good matchup right here. Joe Simeone in the I Love It Jeep, center seat funny Jeep, Chevy Power. Up against Brian Phillips. Brian in that black and green Jeep. Making strong passes all weekend in the 4.0 zone. Brian's allied at 4.09. Joe Simeon's in at 424. Joe Simeon getting the job done there. Dead on with a 6, 424.6. He'll go on to the next round. I did my close one out at the other end. Brian Phillips was only 2 numbers off with a 411 on an 09. Both looked like they had solid lights, so good race there. Joe Simeon will advance. Next up is the 48 flatbed over here on the near side. Up against Brett Neal Cook in the Team Hardcore Dodge pickup over on the far side. Brett dialed in a 5 flat. Up against the 48 over here in at 573. Oh, tough break for the 48. He had him on the tree, but he broke out with a 572 with a 1 and a 73 dial. Under by 9 thou. Brett Neal Cook, 501, will advance to the next round. Next up will be Richard Ross in the 91 Pro Charge Chevy Stepside pickup. Up against Justin Adamson in the Rape Tape Jeep out of Norco. Ross dialed 399, Justin Adamson 428. It's an impressive truck here. You'll enjoy this one. And the win light to Justin Adamson, 432 on the 28 dial. Sounded like Ross's truck didn't shift down there. He went 418 on the 99. Justin Adamson moves on to the next round, and the Norco cheering section goes wild over there.
Hey, yeah, that's the rental ride.
But next up, we have Sadie Cass over on the far side in the Chevy pickup. Up against this Chevy Blazer here. This thing runs pretty good, this Blazer over here on the near side. I believe he's got a diesel in it. 561 dial. Oh yeah, we can hear him spooling her up. And the wind light goes to Cass over on the far side. 476 on the 75 dial. Wow, the Blazer broke out with a nice 547 at 59 miles an hour. That Blazer was quite impressive, I would say. And finishing out the round, it's Charlie Johnson in the Mopar Jeep with the Byron. Charlie, your runner-up yesterday in the Pro 2 and Pro 3 classes. And the continuation of the October event. Charlie dialed in at 445. He's been right on that number all weekend. Whoa, Charlie picked up a bunch on that one. 436. 436 at 73 miles an hour. So anyways, that's Charlie will move on to the next round in the Pro Gambler. Well, folks, we'll stay live through the next class. I believe Sportsman 1 is lined up in the lanes for their third round. So we'll stay live for that, and then we'll take a little break. But Sportsman 1 will be up next. So we're at the 2017 Avenal Sandbag Spring Nationals here in Avenal, California. Watching the National Sandbag News live stream this weekend, presented by Avenal Sandbags. We want to thank all the fine folks here at Avenal Sandbags for their support of our coverage. Great hospitality from the whole crew here, as always. So we're coming out next with Sportsman 1. I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's maybe semifinals. I see 4 cars there. Oh, there's one more. Mike Bolton's pulling up in the back. I believe there's 5 cars on in this round of Sport 1. So quarterfinals time in this category.
Looks like you need to move, bud.
So here we are. Tractors are exiting the track surface. Are we ready for Sportsman 1?
You look like I need a drink. How do you know I don't have one?
So let's see what's going on in the comments. Yeah, I'm not sure, Jeff, if we're going to be live for the last heads-up session. Our kind of depends on what our cell service looks like. It seems to be working okay right now, but it's not super dependable right at the moment. So I'll make the decision when it gets a little closer. But yeah, we'll have the final heads-up session, or probably an hour and a half or so, with the alcohol and eliminator cars back out. The top eliminator cars will be running their final round from to wrap up the October event here. It'll be Ron DeArtney against Mark Whitmore. Tony D'Annunzio getting some TV time right there, just for Tara as she logs on. All right, so here we go. Sportsman 1. Oh, hey, there's another car. We're up to 6 cars. Well, maybe there's more than I thought there were in this class. So to recap, we are at Avenal Sandbags in Avenal, California for the 2017 Spring Nationals. Going into round number 3 of Sport 1 class. This is 450 and faster dial-in on a Sportsman tree. Here we go. So it's going to be Kenny Hayes over on the far side. We just saw him advance on in the Pro Gambler. He'll be up against Chris Helmuth, Helmuth Racing Dragster. Big shout out to everybody checking in on the live stream. As we watch some 300-foot sand drag racing. So Helmuth over here on the near side dialed in at 3.80. Kenny Hayes over on the far side dialed 345. And the win way goes to Kenny Hayes, 351 on the 45 dial. telling you, he got out of it early. I think he had a good light, but he broke out. 82 on the 85 dial. So Kenny Hayes goes on to the next round in Sport 1. Next up, it's Chris Calafiore over here on the near side in the orange and black Jeep. 410 the dial. 403 the number for Wes Johnson out of Hemet over on the far side. Both of these Larry Minor Motorsports built Jeeps. Facing off here in Sportsman 1. Wow, Wes Johnson put it on the bumper and turns on the wind light. Chris Calafiore broke out by 0.02 of a second, 4:09.8 on the 410. And Wes Johnson gets the win. Man, he stood that thing up straight up on the line, up on the bumper, and turns on the wind light somehow. So Wes Johnson will move on to the next round. April Soares here in the near lane. Gary Sakaguchi in the far side in the injected small block Chevy powered water pumper. April dialed in at 420, 390 the dial for Gary over on the far side. And April Soares turned on the red light there. Gary Sakaguchi, 384 on the 390 dial, so he may want to redial next round, but he will move. So finishing up this round, it's going to be Mike Bolton. Mike out of Placerville with his new ride here, Ford Power in the altered. Mike dialed in at 378. Pretty cool to see Mike going rounds in this new ride. So Mike Bolton goes 383 at 81 miles an hour on his bye, and he'll move on to the semifinals in Sportsman 1. All right, folks, well, I'm going to wrap up the live stream here for right now. We want to thank Avenal Sandbags for their sponsorship of the coverage this weekend. We're going to take a break here from the live stream. We'll try to come back later on. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our updates. We'll have videos and whatnot on there as the day continues on. And also be sure to check out NationalSandbagNews.com. Well, thanks, guys. We'll be here all weekend.